Hello, this is Annie. I am quickly approaching the end of this renovation series, the family videos that is. So I felt like just completing it all in one fell swoop. So this video is actually going to contain the last 3 families, last 3 households that I'm going to be placing down and playing with. So after this point, I'm ready to start playing and I'm really excited to finally get going with that. And yeah, I'm gonna have a sort of wrap-up video, you could say, where I am completing the makeovers of the Sims and also, setting things up for them and also making some townies. So that's a little bit exciting. That's gonna come out very soon. But for this video, I decided to go with 3 houses in a row. I placed them down opposite to the Summer Dream house, closer to the river though. So this house, as well as the second house that I'm going to be, well, renovating, I guess you should say, both of them were located here in Veronaville from the start. And then the last one is actually one of the bin houses that I have also renovated in the past. So you might have already seen me refurbish that house, but that is Thrifty Tudor from the lot bins. So that one is going to be the one that I'm ending with. It's turning out very dissimilar from the one that I've already made though, so it's going to be some new content at least. As for this house, I started out by just removing the interior completely because I wanted to experiment a little bit with the space in here and how I could improve things, because this kind of house is one that I've played with a lot in the past, and I feel like, at least on the first floor of the build, the area is a little bit restricted, especially with that tiny 3x3 kitchen. There's only so much you can do with this kind of layout, so I wanted to see what else I could come up with. So I did change out both I removed everything both on the first and second floors just to have a clean slate, you could say. And I actually decided to keep this special looking chimney design that was there from the start as well, to make the chimney look a little bit more chubby than it would be otherwise. It adds a little bit of a difference to what my chimneys normally look like, even if I recolor them. And then one of the things that I really like about these houses is how close they are to the road. You actually have the staircases right up to the letterbox like this. And that's not something that I've seen in any of the other neighborhoods, I don't think. A house that is close like this. So it gives a completely different feeling. More like reminds me more of what you would see in a city, perhaps. I feel like houses that are closer to the street is more common in a city versus the countryside. So that's interesting to have in a neighborhood that's supposed to be the countryside. But it really fits in here somehow. And I went with a slightly green tone for this house, a green roof. Most of the roofs in this area is going to be sort of a black slate color, but it's nice to have a pop of color in there, similar to how it's nice to have that yellow alternative wallpaper as well as the green one for the Summer Dream house, to break the pattern a little bit for these Tudor houses that can look very uniform normally. And here I am working on the layout as well, and you can see me struggle a little bit here with the kitchen, because that was one of the main things that I wanted to change about the layout, but I really struggled to figure out how to do it. At this point, I think I was considering making it a small bathroom downstairs and then squeezing in the kitchen somewhere else, but then I realized that there's room for 2 bathrooms upstairs, so maybe I don't even need one on the first floor. And I went back up here and mixed around with the layout a bit, and I think it turned out way better. But then I was back again here at the first floor. And one of the reasons why it was also a struggle to work with this tiny room was that I had created this very special looking staircase. That's really neat, that curves a little bit to the side, so you can get away with having a different layout and only 3 tiles open on the second floor for the staircase. But it also meant that there was a slimmer space available in this entrance room. So I didn't want to have just one tile in front of the staircase for the Sims to walk on. I felt like that would create a lot of routing issues. So in the end, I actually decided on this solution that I felt like utilized the space a lot better. You have this sort of pass-through kitchen area in its own small room, and then that leads into the dining room. So that actually combined the hallway that was just basically wasting space in the original version with the kitchen itself that was way too small. And I felt like that actually created a way better use of the space that I had. And I actually managed to create a pretty large upstairs area as well, with 4 bedrooms even. So that's plenty of space for this family. They just have 1 kid right now, but I can definitely see this family increasing in size as I start playing them. They seem like very family-oriented and kind-hearted people to me, just from having looked at them from the outside for now. Of course, I can learn different things about them when I start playing with them, but for now, that's my first impression of them. And I decided to go with just 1 solid kind of wallpaper downstairs. I felt like that made it feel a little bit more like a cottage as opposed to the mansion that I created the last time. Because I wanted this to feel more like a cozy family home, not a bit humble, I guess, and not very, I guess, not one of the wealthy houses that the Caps would own. That's been owned by them through generations, something more simple and humble. And I also felt like I wanted to circle the entire lot with fencing, because especially in a town like this where you have neighbors sitting very, very closely to one another, I imagine that the owners of these houses would definitely want to screen off exactly where the lot borders end, just to avoid any neighboring feuds. So that made sense to me to frame everything for this house. And I was actually battling for a while with what color to use for the staircase, and I ended up going with a white color like this. That wasn't what I had been expecting. I thought that for sure that it would be better to use something dark brown, but this was the the best swatch that I could find, so that's what I went with. And then, of course, it's nice also to have a more private back door exit out of the house that's also closer to the driveway, so that it's easy for the family to just go up and leave for work in the mornings through that path. And also now with them having this big of a backyard, I felt that it was nice to have an exit out into the yard. And it's pretty barren right now, not very much plants and things back there, but that's something that I imagine that I can add on to, in part when I get to know the Sims better, and maybe when they've lived here for a little while, and I feel like decorating the backyard. So there's basically just shrubbery at the front of the house right now, and some trees. But I can definitely see this family being interested in gardening. It would be really cute to have a little garden patch out back for them. I can also see this being the kind of family that has pets, so that might be something that I look into as well. So both the mother in this family and the father are actually connected to other people in the neighborhood. I think the mother's name is Carol, maybe. And she has a brother who is one of the roommates in the more commercial area of the town. And then the father has a brother as well. There's another sim in this neighborhood with the exact same face as him, so I made them brothers. They could even be twins. They are like exactly alike in hair color and eye color and everything as well. At least I think so. And he's also a roommate, but he just has one roommate though. He's one of the families that's living above a community lot. So yeah, I think that both of them are going to be somehow connected to businesses in this town, although they're not going to have a business themselves. But that's nice, especially in a town like this, I think, that there's familial relationships for even these families that are not connected to the pre-made families that are obviously very related to one another. And this is the cozy little kitchen, how it turned out. And yeah, those extra tiles actually added quite a lot to how spacious it feels. And yeah, it helped a lot. It really looks like a small cottage kitchen right now. And that's definitely the vibe that I was going with. I think that this family might be one of those running a heightened risk of getting a changeling baby because they're living so close to the Summer Dream family. I think it would be pretty natural to move closely to one another, and maybe they have an easier time just happening to walk by the theater at times and stopping by for an hour or two. And yeah, then they would be prime candidates, So that could definitely happen. So it might not be the case that whatever sibling their daughter, I think her name is Carla, will get is actually going to be completely 100% blood related to her. But that's also a bit fun to mix things up. So definitely the families in this sort of lane are going to be, I guess, a little bit more susceptible. I guess it also depends on whether Titania and Oberon find them attractive, because I think that that's also part of it, who they are going to be targeting. I don't think that they would just be picking out whoever. I think that they would have some kind of reasoning behind it. Even if they want to spread their genes by doing this mischief, they would want the other parent to be a good match, I guess, or a good option, not someone that they detest. That's how I imagine it going. I think that this might be one of the families who have actually lived in Veronaville for generations, but that they are not nobles, that they might be descendants from servants who have been tending to the wealthy families around here for a long time. That could definitely be the case. There would be a lot of different kinds of people in a town like this, and a long history of descendants with different roles and different opportunities. And then it also somewhat makes sense why this family would be living in this house in particular, in this pretty prime location within the town as well, that it might be a house that's been in their ownership for generations as well, but that it's been closely connected to one of the surrounding mansions, but a servant's quarter in this case. So it's very possible that this house was a good house for one of the servants' families connected to whoever lived in the Summer Dream mansion before the fairies moved in. I imagine that mansion is one that yes, one of the families that's now extinct lived in before, because it's really huge and expensive, and it looks very special, like it had some function or some meaning before the Summer Dreams moved in as well. And then, of course, there's several other large mansions in this area of town as well that would have had servants in the past, no doubt. Something that I find fun with the Shakespearean plays is also the fact that it's not always the main characters, the rich and the influential people in the plays that are the most interesting or beloved characters. There's definitely a place where there's servants or fools or drunks or those kinds of characters who are actually sometimes carrying the play in their just from their personalities and their witty lines and so on. So I could definitely see families like this one having a huge role to play in whatever happens with the Caps and the Montys, because they could definitely be somehow helping with the schemes or trying to thwart them or try to diffuse tension, or they could also have their own part to play whatever is going to happen, even if these are not named Shakespearean characters. These townie that I have moved in, they could definitely take part in furthering the plot for my upcoming stories that I'm going to be telling for The Sims. So, maybe this family will somehow take part in whatever upcoming drama is going to happen between Romeo and Juliet. They are living pretty close to the Cap mansion after all, so it's very possible that they're moving in the same circles. And there's plenty other drama that's going to be happening as well, of course. It would also be possible that even though this is a not very wealthy family, they are still having a long ancestry in this town, and they might be hoping that little Carla will find a good match for one of the wealthier sons in town, possibly. No, it wouldn't be completely outlandish to try to push her towards one of either the Monty or Cap sons that we have. I guess she could be a competition for the Chun family's daughter Rebecca as well as they grow up. So I'm pretty much finished with the first floor, and I moved up here to the bedrooms, and I decided to furnish 3 of them, even though I only have 3 Sims so far and only needed 2. But I decided to also make a nursery preemptively, just because I'm pretty sure that there will be a baby in this household soon. But in this room, I wanted to fit in wardrobes as well, but I wasn't sure about the routing around the bed, so I decided to move it a quarter tile to the right so that I could fit into 1 tile, or well, I guess 2 tile wardrobes that in that corner of the room, and hopefully the Sims can still walk around the bed this way. They will not be able to use the rightmost wardrobe because they won't be able to open the doors, but the leftmost one, they definitely can. And that hopefully makes this room functional, but I'm gonna have to play test it, of course. Then this also pretty large room is going to be their daughter's room. And I went with a slightly pinkish style for her, with this really adorable wallpaper with swans on it. I think it's probably a pretty interesting town to grow up in, with all of the feuding families around them, but not being involved in the drama themselves. And it's surely lively at the schools as well, growing up in this way. No, even if the Caps and the Monties are not attending the same schools, because of course the Caps are at private school and the Monties are not, there would definitely be, picking sides. I think maybe the private school is, swearing loyalty to the Caps, and maybe there's a similar faction at the public school as well. And then, of course, some seems getting caught in between. I can, for example, see it definitely being the case that there's a lot of pranking going on between the two different schools, and especially if there are current Monties and Caps attending the school, that might be amplified as well. That people use those kind of pranks to show their loyalty and fealty to different families, maybe. And having prom nights in this town should probably be a nightmare, I think. At least for the teachers. Yeah, probably a lot of shenanigans going on at prom in Veronaville. So as you can see, I left the last bedroom empty for now. But of course, that might be turned into a hobby room or something as I start playing with these sims. Just to fill it out, or yeah, maybe there will be a rapid reproduction in this house, who knows how quickly they have more kids. But I guess those are the two options for what's gonna be in that room. And there's not really, much space to do much of anything in this slim hallway, but at least I could fit in a side table with some plants by the window. I felt like that adding a little something to the room. And then there's 2 bathrooms here, so whenever they have guests over, they would have to walk upstairs to use the loo, but at least the bathrooms are both very close to the landing upstairs. And I didn't really want the burglary alarm to be on full display, so I kind of hid it behind the wardrobe. And then it's time to adding all of the little lights. Looking at the house now that it's pretty much done, I get slight witchy vibes from it. Maybe it's the hanging food and the open shelves and things in the kitchen, or maybe it's the dark walls or the pictures I chose on the walls or something else. But yeah, somehow it feels like there's a hint of something mystical going on here, possibly. And yeah, maybe like there's some kind of nature magic, at least subtly, or maybe they are descendants of someone who was, if not a witch, then at least some sort of medicine woman in the past, perhaps. That's a kind of character that shows up in some Shakespearean plays as well. And if that's a kind of connection that they have, perhaps something in their lineage is protecting them from the summer dreams magic as well. So that could also be the case, that some of the families have some sort of a natural protection that the summer dreams can't circumvent with their own powers. So it is something that I could take into consideration as well. But that's this house finished. Taking a look here at the layout of the house. So yeah, I'm pleased with how this turned out. It feels like, even though it's the same size as it was from the start, the house feels way more spacious now. So I definitely feel like I succeeded in my attempt to make better use of the layout in here. We're moving on to house number 2. So this one is right next to the one that we just left. So you can see it here to the left of this house now. And this is another one that was in this neighborhood from the start, and actually similarly to how I wanted to make better use of the layout in the first house, that's the same thing I wanted to do for this one. Because I feel like often in these houses, the upstairs landing area turns out so cramped that there's a ton of routing issues for the Sims. So I decided to go with a similar pivoting staircase layout in this house as well. And yeah, I went with a slightly larger landing area here and placing down half walls next to the staircase to sort of frame it in. But that enabled me to actually place down doors in a better way so that hopefully there won't be as many routing errors. I was also briefly considering adding in a bathroom downstairs, but I felt like it was better use of this room to just have it being open. So there's going to be 2 rooms downstairs, and then, yeah, I mean, it's very similar to how the layout was from the start in this house, but I felt like at least it was a slight improvement to the utilization of the space. And I also felt like I wanted to have a bit larger entrance like this, because just having one tile and then a door, and I've played with this house before, and I remember a bunch of times when the visitors come upstairs and ring the doorbell, and they just sort of stand there, and then your sim tries to greet them, and they are just, yeah, making a mess of things. So it's better to have a little bit more space to work with, I think. And I'm using a similar coloring on this house as for the first one, but the first floor of this house was entirely in brick, so I'm continuing on with that here as well. And then, of course, the Tudor style walls upstairs. And I also use the same kind of door. It's actually a door, both the doors and these window sets that I'm using came from downloading Cricket's neighborhood, the Feverfew. And I felt like in this hood especially, they fitted in very well, because Feverfew is also a pretty quaint British style, or at least European style town. So yeah, I liked using those here. And this tree that you see at the back of the house here, the large one, not the birch, but the odd one out, is actually not one that I have used a lot recently. But I am starting to warm up a little bit more to the Maxis trees at this point, because obviously the other trees that I've used a lot in the past that is very poly intense have caused a lot of pink flashing, at least in my pleasant view, and know you can even notice it when you're in neighborhood view and you try to pan over your builds. If you have those trees everywhere, that yeah, things are definitely lagging a lot, so it makes sense. So after sort of nuking all of those trees in that town, I've started to just not place them down anymore, and I've come to realize that the Maxis trees are actually quite nice. So yeah, it was nice to get back to using this, so I just left it alone there at the back of this house. It's not the prettiest, but it definitely gets the work done. And I decided to use a very large window in the entrance room. I felt like that was, providing a lot of nice light coming into that room, and also a nice view out to the backyard. So this lot is not going to be surrounded with a fence, and there's not going to be a door to the backyard or anything like that. I try to keep it a little bit more simple, because the idea for this house is that the sisters living here are pretty poor in comparison to a lot of the other families around here. Not extremely poor, of course, but they don't have very much means. and they just have what they have here. And I think that they are fairly newly moved into town, possibly, or yeah, at least they are not having any family around. They don't have parents around, I should say, for whatever reason. And yeah, the older sister, who is an adult right now, I'm going to age down into a young adult, so she's going to actually attend Veronaville University. And it could be the case that they have moved to this town for her to attend university, and I guess for her to look after her younger sister. So they're not going to be connected to any of the family drama. They're going to be fresh blood in this town. The only thing that makes me hesitate is that their last name is a very, very Scottish name. I think it might be like McCullough or something like that. It's some kind of a Mac name anyway. So yeah, that makes me think that, is it an old family from here, or is it a new family? But I guess they could be locals from a town nearby, but that they moved here to attend college, perhaps. That could be the story. Because certainly there are many towns around Veronaville with similar history. So just that Veronaville might be one of the larger cities around here. Well, cities, villages, I guess I should say. So they are something of loose cannons, I guess you could say, when it comes to what they are going to be ending up doing with their lives here. At some point, I was considering that they might be, an old family without any wealth left, and that they would be matched up to one to a Cap descendant and one to a Monty descendant. But yeah, I felt like that was a little bit too similar to what I did for the Chun family, actually. So I decided to forego that plan and leave it more up to chance what happens. It's also fun to have, fresh blood in town for the families, and to have potential romantic interests that are not gonna be desirable matches for any betrothals. So that might stir up some drama with them becoming someone's lover when they shouldn't be, something like that, perhaps. And they are both very beautiful girls, so that could also be playing into it, that they might be pretty desirable to some of the Sims here in town. And of course, same thing goes for this family. Speaking of being desirable, that the summer dreams might be honing in on them as well, potentially. They are still quite young, though, of course, so I think that it would be a little bit of time before that would happen, but yeah, at least they would be on the radar, I think. And here I'm using a kitchen set that I very rarely use, actually, so it was fun to see it actually come together with the different pieces. I don't have a recolor of the cabinets, though. Oddly enough, I only have recolors of the counters, so yeah, they're not very usable in that sense. Maybe I should try to dig out the recolors and see if I can find the same for the cabinets as well. And this little side counter threw me for a loop, because I tried to place down a surface blocker on top of it so that the Sims wouldn't be putting anything on top of it, but then I wasn't able to place it, and I also couldn't place anything else down on it, so I guess that it doesn't have a slot, maybe? I guess I'm gonna have to try it out when I play with it, but that's what it seemed like. So I also actually placed down an invisible counter surface on top of the other one so that the Sims can actually use it. And with that, the downstairs is done. So we have this slim bathroom in here with not very much in it, but yeah, I could fit in a little rug and some towels on the wall at least. And then there's one room each for the sisters. So I tried to keep the style of this interior pretty young and I guess a little bit more modern in some ways with the color choices. There's a lot more black in here than what I've gone for in the other houses. And I also made the staircase black as well, rather than a wooden color in this case. So that also adds a little bit more of a modern vibe to the house, I feel like. That also combined with this bold blue and dark colors changes the script a little bit, I feel like. But I still wanted this room to feel pretty girly, so there's some nice decorations here on the wall. I went with the butterfly theme for Trista here in this case. Then I've also really enjoyed placing down these little circular fur rugs in different places of bedrooms lately, so I think that they add a sense of coziness to the room. Annoyingly enough, when I place down this curtain, sometimes the window sill is poking through, so I actually had to turn the snapping off to place some of them down. And this layout threw me for a loop for a little bit before I decided that the door needed to remove, and after that point it all made sense again because I couldn't really figure out where to place down the bed and still have a good use of the size of the room. And then I decided to put this wardrobe at a 45-degree angle, and I am suspecting that that means that it might not be usable anymore, but I guess I'm gonna have to try it out and see what happens. Just felt like it was framed with curtains on each side, so whatever side I turned it to, it felt like the curtain should be blocking the Sims from opening the doors, so that's why it felt better to put it at an angle like that. And then in this corner, I am actually gonna be placing down both a computer and have an open desk space for Kendra to do her homework. So that's why there's two office chairs here at the table. And I'm kind of crossing my fingers that she will recognize this desk as an actual desk for my homework placement mod. I think that I've played with, I don't know if it was this table or not, but I recently played with a desk that the Sims actually didn't understand that it was a desk, so they kept placing the homework down on the dinner table instead. So yeah, I might end up switching that one out. I'm gonna have to try it out and see. And that's also the teenagers' room, all done. And obviously I don't know what the sisters' hobbies are at this point, so yeah, I don't think I placed down basically any hobby objects except, I guess, the bookshelves. So that's gonna come later, depending on what they randomize as. Yeah, as you can see, I'm placing down some more modern lights as well in here to give this different vibe. So Trista is actually going to end up being the same age as Chris Cho and Viola and Sebastian Monti. So it could be the case that they are gonna be friends moving forward. It's gonna be fun to see what happens with that. It's nice to have some more Sims in similar ages in this town to build, friendships like this. Especially outside of the Monty and Cap family, so that I can keep the feud going on without feeling forced to wage the gap and create friendships between them. It's more fun to try to maintain the feud, I feel like. Yeah, and that's this house all done as well. This one was a little bit quicker because, the size, obviously. And I also didn't change as much with the layout in this one. And then we're moving on to the final house, the Tidy Tudor. And that is for the Butler family. So I mentioned in the previous video that Jonathan Shun had a previous marriage to Gina Sivi. And Gina is actually the mother of this family, her sister. So I think I also mentioned while I was building the house that Gina and her son is living in, that there's a spare room in there that I didn't really know what to do with as I built it, and that I had a possible idea that that could be used for her niece if this family, the Butler family, was getting more kids and they felt like the house became too cramped, that it could be an option for their eldest child, their daughter, Catherine, to move in with her aunt instead. So that might be what I end up going with eventually for this family. For now, she's staying here, of course, with her parents and her brothers. But yeah, this house is, even though I started by enlarging it a little bit by 2 tiles at the back, it's still pretty cramped. So yeah, gonna have to see. But that's definitely an option for what's gonna happen. Because yeah, the mother, I don't remember what her name is, unfortunately. But the father, I think his name might be Adrian, perhaps. Yeah, anyway, he is a family sim. So yeah, I think that he's probably gonna want to have more kids. Let's see what happens, but that's the idea that I have right now. And yeah, so it's gonna be a squeeze. And I actually ended up doing the same thing here, that I started by also removing the interior to sort of start afresh with a clean slate. And that way I came up with this new layout for the upstairs and this one for the downstairs. And that changed things out in a pretty satisfying way, I feel like. And I decided to keep true to the pattern that I had established now with these houses, that I used this type of fencing for the front and the white recolor of the staircase. And of course I'm using also the same kinds of windows here, but I'm changing it out for the doors. So that's going to be a little bit different in this house. So this family also will have a door leading out to the backyard and the driveways as well. So that's pretty neat. It's actually gonna be even a kitchen door, a proper one in this house. So that's pretty classic. So the last name that I went for with this family is Butler, and yeah, that name as well as the placement in this kind of house, in this location, makes me also think that this might be another family who's descendant from servants. And I guess they might have been butlers in the past. You know, in the olden days, people tended to name themselves after their occupation often. So I guess it would make sense if this is a family who once upon a time used to be a lineage of butlers, maybe. I don't know. So yeah, makes sense to me. Something that might be interesting to consider, you know, speaking of changelings and this family living basically right next door to the Summer Dream family, is that they have 3 children. And yeah, question is, you know, how Puck and the Bottom were conceived, because I did decide that they are both going to be both Titania and Oberon's biological children, like they have one each. I decided that Puck is going to be Titania's and Bottom is going to be Oberon's. So it is possible that that happened in this town. I don't know exactly how long the Summer Dream family has been living here, but I feel like they are a bit established at this point, and I think that they also moved here specifically to further their schemes. So it would make sense actually for Puck and Bottom to have parents here. Of course, Puck would have been born from Titania herself, so it would just be a matter of figuring out who his father is. And I guess I would have to consider his appearance and also the age of the father then, who it could be. But then when it comes to Oberon and Bottom, there should actually be a child in town that is a changeling. That the Summer Dream family actually adopted and changed out Bottom for, so that they could raise her. And the sign that I'm going for, what kids to pick up, is any of the kids who keep the fairy eyes, fairy ears, I mean, the pointed ones. And obviously Bottom has pointed ears, so that makes sense. And I also feel like if Titania had given birth to a human baby, then she would have handed that off to the biological father. And of course, using her fairy magic to make him agree to it as well. Obviously that didn't happen here, but I guess, that could be the history for this. So it's possible that one of the kids in this family is actually not their biological child, it's an adopted child, and that the Bottom is theirs. Or I guess it would be the mother then in that case that happened to. And then it would just be a matter of figuring out what child it is. The trouble here is that I'm going to make the boys the same age so that they are twins. So it would either have to be the case that they're both changelings, and it could be the case that they're actually not twins either, that they're just two adopted children that they got together and changed out Bottom for, maybe, because they don't look exactly alike, as you might expect twins to do. They don't even look very similar, you know. Or it could be that the daughter, of course, is a changeling. So I have to think about that and also match it with, that child would have to be the exact same age as Bottom is. So yeah, that's something to consider, definitely. The other options that I have is the Chun family, but I definitely feel like Rebecca is their biological child, so no, that doesn't make sense. Other than that, I'm trying to recall what families have children. Yeah, of course, Carla from the family that this video started with. But she also seems like a biological child to those two parents. So yeah, I feel like maybe in this case, Catherine might be the best option. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure something out there and look into it. But it's fun to think about, definitely. So I made quick work of the garden and moved into the interior of the house. I'm starting here with the kitchen, and yeah, I decided to go with a very uncommon color for me, but a bright red for the stove and the fridge. But I somehow feel like that's something that I've seen from British homes, that there's some really bright colors in unexpected places at times. So I wanted to add a little bit of that feeling into this house. So that's why I went for that pretty extreme drop of color. And there's actually plenty of space here now in this kitchen to add a very long family dining table, and that really helps in this kind of family, to make sure everyone has a place to sit to eat. It also helps because they have extended family, of course, so having a larger dining table actually allows also for more guests to come here and have dinner at times. So it would be nice if, the CVs, for example, come over to dine, that they have plenty of space. Something else to consider about this town is the schools and what schools the children will be attending. And I am a bit on the fence for this family and the other family close to this one, whether they would have their kids in the private school or the public school. On the one hand, it's probably related to family funds. A family who has the right kind of wealthy house and of course the means to provide for the education that's probably pretty expensive and also has a good reputation and things like that would be things that a headmaster considers when he looks into a family before accepting them into the private school. So I'm not sure if that should be like, I mean, this is a pretty big house and pretty, they're doing well for themselves, even if it's not like old and extremely wealthy, They're not swimming in money, but at least, it's pretty, it's not a cheap house by any means, So it could definitely be the case. But then on the other hand, there should be more children in the private school, I feel like. So, I'm not sure what way to go with it, actually. It could also be the case, of course, that in these families where I'm not so sure whether the kid would be accepted in private school or not, that I reserve it for any children who I could see getting accepted on a scholarship, that they are talented in some way. Maybe they are a virtuoso or something like that sets them apart from the other kids their age, and that would allow them to be accepted into the private school. So that's something to consider for sure. But as for the other side of town, obviously the Monty family is not going to be attending the private school, and I mean they certainly have the means for it, but I think that for them it's more tradition and like a protest towards the Cap lineage and everything they stand for and their own traditions, that they have developed this very interesting tradition themselves to not send their kids to private school. And that could also be influencing the families that are friendly with them. As for the Turner family, for example, might also not be sending their children to private school, even though they could certainly afford it and have enough influence to do it as well. So that might be something that you would sacrifice if you want to be connected to the Monty family in that sense. So there's a bunch of different hobby objects in here. So no matter what hobby the kids and the parents develop, there's hopefully something in there for them. And then it's time for the upstairs. So there's actually a tiny cloakroom downstairs through the kitchen with just a toilet, and then they have a bathroom upstairs. So there's only one place to take a shower or a bath. So it might be the case that I add in a university shower into the bathroom downstairs, just so that they have an option for actually getting their hygiene up somewhere else. With this kind of a large family, that might turn out to be necessary, but I'm gonna have to see. And this is a kind of Max's bed that I haven't really used for a very long time, but somehow in this room it just felt like it was the perfect solution. Sitting down to furnish this house actually makes me wonder a little bit about the intentions of the creators of the game when they created the different lots that went into the lot bin. Because especially this house, I feel like it was somehow meant to be placed down in Veronaville as an extra house. And I think that there's also a house that's very similar to the appearance of the Monty Ranch and the house around it, that possibly also was meant for this town. And thinking back to what other houses are in there, perhaps there are other houses that the developers kind of figured that the players would place down the houses in. That's very possible that there's... I haven't really thought about it, but I guess that there are some houses that look a bit more similar to the style that you get in Pleasant View and Strange Town, respectively. I don't feel like it's the case for the rest of the houses. I guess if you make the exception of the houses that came with the nightlife, because they definitely look a lot like the townhouses that you get in downtown. So for sure that neighborhood, it rings true for as well. But no, thinking back, I'm not sure how. I mean, maybe that's just the case, just that I haven't really played a lot with the other neighborhoods. So maybe the houses are really suitable to all of the neighborhoods that came with different games. Yeah, because if I think back to the apartment lots as well, then they definitely feel like they look a lot similar to the apartments that came with the Belladonna Cove as well. So yeah, I guess that might be the case then. that was always the intention all along. Yeah, so the bedrooms are almost done here now. I decided to combine this actually slightly smaller room, I think, for the two boys. So they're going to be sharing a room, and then this room is going to be Catherine's. And I guess that when this family has a new child, I guess I should say when and not if at this point, then that kid will be joining her in this room, unless she decides to move over to her aunt's house, that is. It could also be the case that when the baby is newly born, before it grows into a toddler, that the parents are keeping the baby in their own bedroom and then giving her a little bit of time to settle. But yeah, it's too cramped, I think, to consider any other kind of solution. So then I'm placing down a burglar alarm again. I was considering adding in a second one because sometimes the burglars are walking in at the back door, but I felt like that was excessive. So there's actually just a burglar alarm at the front door in this case. And I'm making sure to place them down even in these less wealthy houses, because I have amplified how often I get burglaries in my game, so I definitely need them unless I want my Sims to get robbed too frequently. And then we have the lights. Again, placing in some cozy wall sconces here and there and trying to minimize the number of ceiling lights to give a softer, more cozy lighting throughout. And then we have this final house also finished. So yeah, you see the whole lane here also done with these 3 houses, so that's nice. And then I also, now that I've actually refurnished these houses, I also have some inspiration to go off of when it's time to work on any of the other homes along the same area as this. Yes, I'm actually really, really happy how this turned out, and I'm especially happy that it's all done now. I can actually almost go ahead and sit down and play. I just have to complete the makeovers and then it's all done. So I hope you enjoyed seeing this and hope you liked how it turned out. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you soon. Take care. Bye.